everyone, Toad69500 here, and unless you followed me on my other social media, and with that I mean DeviantArt because that's the only place where I posted this, you would have known that I took a trip to Sweden. On said trip, when I was at one of the beaches, I built a mini sand version of the Mouse, the super heavy tank from Germany. This, however, quickly evolved into a full-scale sand diorama, featuring a train, trenches, a bunker, a supply truck, and, of course, the aforementioned sand mouse. However, this would not be the last tank I would make on this vacation, because once we went to Denmark and stayed at a camping there was another small beach. Perfect for making more tanks. This is the start of what I like to call the tale, or the tales, of the sand tanks. This video will provide closed captions, because it is kinda hard to hear me whispering into the camera as I do not want to be heard on a public beach, which, you know, has other people on it, including children, which are allowed. So, if you have any trouble hearing me, turn on those captions and you should be fine. That being said, I'll fill in the blanks until we get to the footage I recorded with narration while I was at the beach. So I started out building a Churchill Mark III. Then, after that, I decided that I should have an enemy tank on the other side of the little channel that was dug in the beach. This became a Jagdpanther. Then I thought to myself, can I make a boat? And that's where this started.
Look at this thing.
Then, after making whatever that was, I decided to build a Churchill Mark I along with a Hetzer, now having two tanks on each side. I decided to use wood to make the tracks on the Churchill Mark I, which was an idea I had earlier. I also slightly upgraded some of my tanks. Then, soon after, I would add a railway, which would later be filled by multiple trains. Or at least, that was the plan. However, then I decided that I was going to do something. And that's to give every single one a name. So,
Allow me to introduce you to my new friends. We've got Hans, Klaus, they do not want to focus, Nigel, and Charles. Again, they do not want to focus. And Knuckles. That's Knuckles, yes. You can question it. And there we have Timmy the Blob Engine. He does not have friends. His coaches, Fanny and Shithead. What a wonderful creations I have made. Timmy's dead. Coaches have survived. Knuckles is disintegrated except for the barrel. So Hanson, Klaus, and Nigel and Charles are still alive. Speaking of Nigel, I have made some drawings here. Nigel, Millie, and E.
I forgot to mention, people didn't really seem to care about my creations. So, it was a dangerous world out there for these weak sand sculptures. However, I would protect, save, and even rebuild them if I had to.
Knuckles has been rebuilt. Look at him. So, Timmy. The Churchill has been bonked to hell. It's been beaten to a pulp. But it's fine. We've rebuilt Knuckles, we've rebuilt Timmy. We can rebuild Churchill. You know, Generation 2 of the Egg Panther, Generation 3 of the Knuckles, and Churchill has been rebuilt. Billy's fine, and I have to check on the drawings. These drawings are invisible basically, so people step on them a lot. So you have to fix them again. This for our vehicles. Can you sign? Characters. We've added mouse. Knuckles. And the pictures are all so being fine. On version 3 of this Churchill. Churchill is the original. For the rest, nothing's really changed. Oh yeah, Timmy is becoming like a mountain. Don't know what happened there. Somebody was like clearing it, and they started building a bridge, and the bridge fell. We have this. I'm not going to rebuild Timmy. This is a lost cause. I lied, I rebuilt Timmy over here in this tunnel. Probably the worst version of him yet. But he's still here, together with his coaches, Fanny and whatever. Shithead. I did not give this one a parody name. I've been calling it like Fanabelle or whatever. But it's Shithead! Yay! I'm not doing the real details again because I'm lazy. And the tanks are still fine, by the way. And I also cleaned the drawings. But their quality is slowly decreasing. Smeg is fine. Yeah, Smeg is not taking any damage. Of course he's not, because he's Smeg. Rebuilt the Mark III again, and also fixed the Mark I, because he had a little bit of damage there. For the rest, everything's fine. Has died, and I've rebuilt him again. The first time, actually. So I can't say it again, but Tutel lived very long. Now the only ones who are on their first generation is Mouse. But I built Mouse later, so the oldest tanker that has survived is Churchill Mark I. But will he survive forever? Find out next time. I don't know when that will be, but
Well, I know the answer. After I went away to go and eat, the camera died on me. So whatever footage is left is made using my phone, which is why the quality is a little bit poo-poo. However, just before I had to go and eat, I went to go and check on the tanks one more time. Only to see this little shit, this little fucking bastard, look down and squish both Jagd Panther and the Hetzer. He knew full well what he was doing. He only wanted destruction. It was the same kid, by the way, that turned the original Timmy into a bridge or mountain. Once he saw that I was watching, he quickly walked away. I rebuilt the two of them once more. This time I kind of fucked up on the Hetzer, making him look a bit more like a Stug. But then I left to go and eat. And well, when I came back, there was nothing. All my hard work, I tried my best to preserve everything, but it was gone. Destroyed, not by nature, by a little shitty bastard. And as you can tell, I was pretty upset about that. Didn't help that the stress from the vacation had been slowly eating away at me. So despite them being just humps of sand with some sticks in them, I was pretty emotional.
So, I just come back after eating, and there's nothing left. Mouse. Yeah, Panther. Hetzer too, which is more like a Stug. Churchill Mark 1 survived so long and they put so meticulously together. Gone! That's what's left of Churchill Mark 3. Survived surprisingly well. This looks more like a range gun carrier now. This was the original plan. I was going to rebuild them as that. Knuckles has somewhat survived. Drawings are completely gone. It's like the Force survived mostly. And Billy, fucking Timmy of all people, lives. He has been spared. But children. Rest in peace, you beautiful bastards. The world did not serve you. I could tell they had some trouble killing the Mark one. Look at that, those are shovel marks. They used a fucking shovel because of the wood.
And so, still upset that the only thing who survived was Timmy. They actually fixed as well. You can see in the footage that they drew extra bits of track behind him. And yet they disintegrated the Mark III with water, stomped on the Germans, and beat the Mark I to death with a shovel. A metal shovel, by the way. But then again, I shouldn't take it too personally, as they did also destroy every other sandcastle that was built. Again, massive shitheads. But I'm over it now, right? And, well, the next day when I woke up, all that was left was that little bit of Knuckles still melting away. A small bit of Smeg could still be seen in the sand. And Timmy fucking lives. Some say Timmy to this very day is still standing on that beach in Denmark. I, however, let him rest. I did not want to disturb anything anymore. The only thing I did was go into the piles of wood and sand that was left, and I took the barrel of mouse and the whole cannon of the Mark III. I put it in my pocket, and later in a paper bag, and then I left it. So who knows? Timmy and Knuckles might still be out there, along with the coaches, Fanny and Shithead. It was fun making these sculptures, and I'll probably do it again every time I go to the beach. Now I'll draw and make some little sand tanks, or sand trains. Thank you for watching. I would like to dedicate these last few seconds of the video in silence to our fallen comrades.